All right, guys, we're going to get right into this video. I'm joined with David Carrico here, and we're going to be talking about a few different topics I wanted to bring up with David tonight. I wanted to show these videos, and I wanted to get his opinions because I've talked to different people throughout the week about some of these things, and I really enjoy talking back and forth about this stuff from a biblical mindset, and so we're going to go through those things. David, how are you tonight, man?
Very good, and I'm very thankful and excited to be able to talk about these things that's happening right now. There's so much happening on just on a daily basis that we really need to watch and pray. And these are some really significant things we're going to be kicking around this evening.
Yeah, a lot of things seem to be coming out. I'm going to turn that off there. Maybe that'll help with the sound. There seem to be a lot of things coming out that lead me to believe that we're in a stage of really exposing everything. It's almost like there's some kind of veil
Yeah.
being lifted with some of these videos that we talk about tonight. This is interesting stuff that not a lot of people are paying attention to. I think there's a lot of different things that might be covering one of the last topics that we talk about tonight. Because really, I think the last topic that we're going to be talking about tonight is one of the biggest topics, in my opinion, that's going on that nobody's really talking about. Very few people, unless you care about finance or anything like that, but it's not getting out to the mainstream media. And so I'm excited to talk about it, David, and we can get right into it
Absolutely. I'm
if you.
very thankful. Let's rock it.
All right, this first video is a Candace Owens video, and she is being sued by Brigitte Macron. And if you don't know who that is the alleged. I mean, she is the wife. He. I don't know what even to say here. So I'm just gonna let you watch the video. The Candace Owen alleges that Brigitte Macron is a dude, and that she. I'm just gonna let her tell her. She does a much better job of. It's hard for me to tell this story. It's so gross to me. But I'm just gonna let her tell it. Here we go.
I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully prepared to take on this battle. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls. If you need any more evidence that Brigitte Macron is definitely a man, it is just what is happening right now. The idea that you would file this lawsuit is all of the proof that you need. Okay? I have been in communication with their lawyers or via our lawyers, like their lawyers and my lawyers have been speaking, phone calls, emails since January. They did not send us a copy of the lawsuit. They did not give my lawyer a heads up that they were filing a lawsuit, but they did instead opt to give this lawsuit ahead of time to the Financial Times, the New York Times, CBS News. What does that tell you? It's a PR strategy. They don't care if they win. This is about running it through the press. I found out with all of you. I found out with the world. I found out from the Financial Times that I was being sued by the first couple of France. Not normal, guys. The Financial Times reported that the lawsuit also says that their filing includes a description of the circumstances in which they met. The president was a 15-year-old student at a Jesuit high school in Amiens when he first encountered Brigitte, then a 39-year-old married teacher with 3 children. So much of that is not true. Again, they're trying to say he's 15, he was 14. According to the filings, they, quote, formed a deeper intellectual connection when she directed a production of the 1971 Milan Kundera play, Jack and His Master, in which Macron played the lead role. And later, the two began meeting regularly to collaborate on another play. Their relationship, quote, remained within the bounds of the law, the filings say. But when the teenager's parents found out about his, quote, strong feelings for his teacher, they moved him to a different school. Before he left, he told her, whatever you do, I will marry you. Dude, you're such a creep. Like, the fact that you're stating this as a defense, and you're not even telling the truth here, okay? Because you can't ignore the facts of how old he was when he was in that play. You just can't. So happy to go through this in court. But do you realize how creepy you are? How creepy this sounds? His parents then took him away because I'm disgusting, right? Because I'm a creep. Because I had power over this student and tried to seduce him, not because I looked like Claudia Schiffer, because I'm just like a creepy old man. Like, that's what happened here. And you stating this is like, oh, it's so disgusting. We're not going to shut up. You're not going to bully us. The discovery alone is going to be out of this world. I we would be required to depose President Donald Trump. Same day that you were here, I got the phone call. So what's going on? Which, by the way, he acknowledges that the phone call happened in this filing. You've met your match. I will see you in court. I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully
So David, I don't know, the audio cut on me. It's all good, but you get the gist of it here when David, if you want to unmute yourself there, I think you're muted. But if you get the gist of this video, this is obviously something that
John, I'm not hearing you.
I'm hearing you, David, and the audience is hearing you. So I don't exactly know why. Let me see. How about now, David? Can you hear me?
I got you now. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Good deal. Sorry, that would be my fault again. You know, it's hard. I'm not used to doing these, David. We're an hour, not maybe an hour apart, right? Not even that far.
We're out of our element here.
We're out of our element here. We need Brian here to help us out, to help us out with this tech stuff, man. So, anyways, you saw the video. You saw what Candace Owens had to say. What do you say to that, man? Is this the craziest thing? If this is true, we're alleging, we don't know any of this stuff. We've not been there, done that, seen that, or anything along those lines. But what stood out to you in this?
Well, there are red flags here all over the playing field. That is for sure. And the first is the fact that Mr. Macron met Mrs. Macron when he was 15 and she was 39, 24-year difference there. And just a 15-year-old kid when he met the lady or whatever that he married. Now, fact number two, second red flag, and that just raises up all kinds of bad scenarios that really, I think Mr. Macron could very well have been compromised and programmed at a very early age. Second red flag, Mrs. Macron was a teacher in a Jesuit school. They met in a Jesuit school, and I tell you what, Mr. Macron, being Jesuit educated, there in France and from the Languedoc area, this is where the birth of the fake Mary Magdalene Jesus bloodline comes from. This is something that is very much believed by the elite families in Europe. And this is just a big red flag to me. They're all over the playing field. And just looking at Mrs. Macron, file this under creepy. I mean, file this under super creepy. And I personally believe that the world's governments, for the most part, are now in the control of Luciferian, pedophile, transvestite creepos. And I think this is just more evidence of it. And just something ain't right. And one of the most disturbing things about the whole thing is that Donald Trump made the phone call to Candace Owens to tell her to stand down on this. Now, that just bothers me. And what that says to me is that Donald Trump has rules he has to play by, that he can do a lot of what he wants to do, but there's things that he cannot do and cannot say. And I think someone tapped him on the shoulder to walk that back. That's just my opinion. But this is, it is just deeply creepy. And just like, for instance, and we'll get into this a little later, that, Mr. Obama and Mr. Trump are in full smackdown mode. But one place that Trump won't go, he ain't going to say anything about Big Mike. And you better believe that's off the table and off limits. And that's because I believe these are the type of people at the very top that are controlling the things. I think they're full-blown Luciferian perverts. And that's kind of the way that I'm seeing this whole thing. It stinks. It ain't good.
Man, yeah, there's a lot going on that we don't know behind closed doors. It just seems like there's so much weird drama going on up at the top. And if any of this is even true, like this is really mind blowing. And the fact that they're releasing it to the public is what is the most shocking to me, because that means that, like with this Candace Owen thing, this could all be drama. I think they're all kind of maybe in this together. I really don't know that I believe that, I guess, Trump and Candace Owen aren't in some sort of harmony with releasing some of this information on this. And, there's some things that, I don't know. It would be hard. It would be hard not to say that if you knew about it, though, right? If you really knew, like, this is true, it would be hard not to say those things. And, maybe he just doesn't know. He is getting older and he's not, like, looking up people's skirts, I guess. Hopefully not, looking up people's skirts and seeing if that's the case. And you'd have to, in order to even believe that, you'd have to be one of the people that's been shared that kind of information and stuff. I don't know, man. It's wild stuff to think about, but there's a lot more going on tier 2 that doesn't necessarily meet the eye, because you hear about the Epstein thing. We've talked about that probably, at least 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks, if not more. But now there's these other things going on behind closed doors, and there's a whole like opinion on this from other sides of people like Q and people along those lines that is really interesting. So I wanted you to show you these next couple of videos here, and I wanted your reaction on them. The first one is going to be the one where Gabbard releases some information to the press. The second one is a video that Donald Trump produced on his, or I don't know if he actually produced it. He didn't produce it. He shared it and uploaded it to his Truth Social account, which is the company that he owns on Truth Social. So we'll talk about one of those right after the other. So here we go.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration.
So that first video with Gabbard producing this, now there's actually other people that their strike force is going for. It's going after Obama, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Hillary, and they're going for charges of treason. This is the charges that are being brought forth against these people. And this is something that we have not seen yet, a president charged with treason, a former president charged with treason. We've seen impeachments, we've seen things along these lines, but to see a Department of Justice seeking treason charges on another president is something that is not normally heard of. Now, I haven't played the other video yet, David, of the one that Trump posted, but reacting to that, what do you say?
Well, I am more than convinced that Obama and Biden and pretty much the whole progressive left movement and pretty much the whole Democratic Party are guilty of high treason. And if you look at the very definition of insurrection, it means a group of people getting together to prevent the law from being enforced. And they're a textbook definition of insurrection. However, I believe that the animosity between Trump and Obama, it's real. I think it's real. But at the same time, I believe that they are two heads of the eagle. And I believe that Mr. Trump is doing his agenda is racing full speed to fulfill the Illuminist agenda laid down by Pike Mazzini in inflaming the Middle East into a war between the Muslims and the Zionists. That's all I can see. He's taken it forward full bore. Mr. Obama, he is from the left-hand path, and that he wants the same thing, but that they both want the New World Order, and they're going to fight to the death to see who controls it. Now, I believe that there's the ultimate goal of globalism, and I think it's kind of we're going to let the kids fight it out and see who wins. And according to the book of Second Esdras, the prophecy there was the right head would eat the left. And that might be what we're seeing, the right head, the eagle eating the left. And it also plays out in the two different kinds of Freemasonry. Continental or Grand Lodge or Grand Orient Freemasonry, which was born in France, it is the historical enemy of Grand Lodge Freemasonry, which is from the Grand Lodge of England. And this plays out here in America through the northern and southern jurisdictions of the Scottish Rite. And like old Byrd, the senator there for so long, wasn't it Harry? No, I'm the guy from North Carolina, and I'm not calling his name. I'm sorry. The big conservative. He's been gone for a while, but he was a Freemason of the southern jurisdiction. And a lot of the others, they're 33rd degree Freemasons in the northern. They're both Freemasons. They both have the same agenda, but they're really not. They'll smile at each other as they pass in the hall, but those agendas conflict. There's a power struggle there, and that's the way that I see it. And I think that this power struggle is going to continue. They did everything they could, and a lot of it was genuinely fabricated to try to take down Mr. Trump. And now it's going to come back the other way, and it's a situation that's going to breed violence, and there's serious animosity here and division that's just going to play out in a bad way. That's the only result that it can have.
I talked to Nino Rodriguez earlier in the week. Actually yesterday, and right before Gabbard came out with this information, we had talked about this, and he believes, I guess, according to some of his intel of the people he is in contact with, that when this happens, they believe there'll be a rise in major civil unrest during that time because of the strong approval rating that Obama had during his presidency. Some people they don't even understand what's going on here, right? But the day that he's put in shackles, if this ever happens, of course, this is all,
Yeah.
maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I'm not holding my breath, but if it happens, they believe civil unrest is on the way, and we've, theorized civil unrest is on the way as well. We've analyzed a lot of different angles on that. So, yeah.
And I don't think that Mr. Obama will ever be arrested. The one thing about the Republicans, they talk a big stick, going to prosecute this, clean up that, drain the swamp. Nothing ever seems to happen. Nothing ever seems to happen. I don't think anything will. What happens is they continually to gin up their base with anger. And but I don't think that Mr. Obama will be prosecuted any more than any of these other people. And we had Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky. He called out Tony Fauci for lying at Congress. Right, lied to their face. Nothing's ever going to happen. nothing's ever going to happen. So, it's a game, it's theater, and it's people that are just jockeying for power and control. And it's not the more we say America first, it just I just ain't buying that. We're in a lot of trouble here, and a lot of it, the bigger problem than all of it, is the way that America has turned its back on God, and the way that the so-called religious leaders in America are just a mess. And you could look at Mr. Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula White. We could just start right there with the discussion. I mean, she's a train wreck. So that's where we're at. It's not good. And, it's hard to tell what's theater and what isn't. It's a lot of people fighting for control. But I think the one thing I see out of this, when you've got Mr. Trump making that phone call to Candace Owens, man, that just bothers me. And like I say, it might be all theater. It's hard to tell, but it just doesn't pass the sniff test with me.
Yeah, man. Who knows? I think that the way I look at it is most likely if it goes along with the pattern that you've seen your entire life, that I've seen my entire life, then that's likely the way it's going to go. But I'm also thinking, there could be something very different about Trump, as in maybe a biblical type figure, maybe not in a good way even, but in a different type way that steps outside the bounds of normal presidents. And I just wonder if this is part of what we're witnessing here. I mean, I've never seen anybody talk the way he's doing. And he did say recently, I was the hunted, I've become the hunter. And I'm looking at this from a perspective of somebody looking at the media, seeing what the propaganda's saying, and thinking of it as a story writer and like, what are all the angles that could happen in this whole scenario. And Trump's never been one to leave people hanging on suspense and hanging on things that are promised or things that are going to happen, firing somebody, getting rid of somebody, and doing those different things. Like, it's just, to me, I think that you're right, mostly that he is part of the system, because everybody is, no matter what you do. Even if, David, if you became president tomorrow, you would automatically become part of the system. You know what I mean? There's no way around it. You couldn't do anything about it. You're there, you're in the middle, and you are doing the will of God, even if that means bringing about something that you maybe would normally not bring about, but maybe because you are in that position, you would do those type of things. And so, I mean, I think of it kind of like that too, like what is said to happen in the Bible. In the Bible, we know that there will something come up, there will be a peace treaty, people will think things are great, things will move along in a certain way. A biblical figure like the Whore of Babylon gets taken off the throne, which I think this is exactly what we're seeing. I think we will see some of these things come to pass, because I think that the left side is the biblical whore of Babylon that rides on the beast. So I don't know, maybe my opinion's a little different than yours, but I see what you're saying. I understand why you're disgruntled, David. I get it. Like I understand, dude. Like there's no hope probably to be had, but at the same time, like I see, like you said, two different beasts, two different things shifting and taking place. And I think Trump is somehow connected as part of that means to make that happen, I guess you could say. That's what I see when I look at it, but I don't know.
Well, tomorrow night on our Friday night FOJC, I'm going to be talking a little bit about King Cyrus. And many people have compared Donald Trump to King Cyrus, who was the king of Persia that facilitated the return of Israel into the land and the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem and the temple. And there's an interesting statement in Scripture about Cyrus. It says he is a ravenous bird. And right after that, it says plainly in the text that you don't know me, that he does not know the true God. And it uses the word anointed for King Cyrus. He was anointed, and even though he was a ravenous bird and didn't know God, God used him and to fulfill his purpose. And I think that could very well be the case with Mr. Trump, that he doesn't have a real born-again relationship with God, yet God is using him at this time for his purposes. Now, the only purpose that I can see now that God has in store for America is judgment. And I think that could very well be God is using Mr. Trump as an instrument to position our country into judgment. And I see that as nothing less than the war that was prophesied by Pike and Mazzini. And I believe also, and I was teaching on this Wednesday night, and this is as controversial as setting your hair on fire, much even worse than Mrs. Macron. But I believe that there is in Israel a group of people that say they're Jews that are not, that are the synagogue of Satan. I believe they are the spearhead for the right hand path. And I think this whole thing is going to blow up. I think it's going to blow up.
I think they're the spearhead for both paths, David. I mean, you just clear that everyone that's ever led the communist revolutions and stuff, they've been the spearhead of that too. So like I see it behind all of it, but I think a lot of it too that we see, like, man, we're getting ready to see that part of it being, the Bible says it's going to be basically exposed, right? It's going to be laid bare for people to see. This going to be out there, burned and taken out. And when I think about what that means, what I've always thought in my mind, that has to equal the ones who are the big merchants of the world, the ones who've taken control of policy, the ones who have taken control of really ravaging a land and corrupting a people, because that's really ultimately what they did. I mean, these people got in power and they got corrupted. There's several ways to corrupt people. They found the way that works the best with any of them, and they corrupted every single one of our powerful men that lead our country, you know. And so that judgment, I hope to see that judgment against Babylon for that. But I know that what comes after that is also biblical proportion stuff as well. And I just, what I think though is, like, I guess ultimately we have to kind of wait and see what happens with this. Like, I think it's not going to be, in the end, we're going to go through all the things we've talked about. We're going to go through all of this stuff, and there's no man coming to save us other than our King, right? King Jesus. That's the only one who's really ultimately going to come and give us our redemption, give us our things back. But when I look at like somebody like Donald Trump, that clearly is being used by God, even if he isn't a perfect believer or a believer at all, he's literally being used just like Obama was being used at the time. Everybody's used to work towards their own destruction. And don't you think that even if they aren't the perfect men for the job, they are doing what God has intended to happen? Because I don't think anybody can bring certain things about without God's approval, without him opening the door for it to happen. Because you know as well as I do, in our own life, we've tried to do things that God's shut the door on, even though we may have had the resources, we may have had the time, we may have had all the things, but boom, the door's shut. It just seems like these doors are being opened, and him being there kind of like opens this floodgate for a bunch of people to see some weird play going on in front of us that nobody normally pays attention to the news. Let's be real. Like during the other presidents, like who really watched the news more than like 5-10 minutes, or like click, boom, boom. But like with Donald Trump, he has this ability to captivate like such a large group of people. Like I'm talking like everybody wants, even if they hate his guts, they want to see what he has to say. They want to see what's going to happen next. And that brings me to this video real quick. I want to play it because I thought it was hilarious. I mean, I took the music out. They used the YMCA music that he always used in there, but he shared this on his Trump social. I went back and found it. He shared it on, I think it was like the 6th or something like that. So I'm going to play it.
No one, especially the president, is above the law.
Get the idea. It's an AI rendering video of him being carried out to be arrested, and I just couldn't believe seeing a president post that thing. So I'm gonna play this next video because it's just really, it really kind of goes along with this. This is Donald Trump at the Federal Reserve, and he's speaking to the chair of the Federal Reserve, and this is very uncomfortable for this chair right here. And this sparks a lot of things that I really think that a lot of people need to really look at, is like these acts, like the Genius Act that was passed, and some of the things in the bill that he passed before, because a lot of people don't realize this, but on August 1st, something different's going to happen with the financial system. Digital tokens are going to be, they're finally being regulated now, so banks can issue these digital tokens, and things are starting to go towards that. And a lot of people have no idea about this bill, what it even means or anything like that. And this is not the broadcast for me to sit and explain all those things, because they're very intricate. But this is Donald Trump at the Federal Reserve. Now, the Federal Reserve is, in my opinion, judging based off what I know about what's going on, they're fighting against this. They really don't want it, because I don't think that they're going to have the ability to issue one of these coins here in America. And that, to them, is not very good. They're fighting against Ripple. They're fighting against other companies right now. This is Donald Trump visiting that facility, grumpy about some things, but funny in a funny way. The other guy looks like the grumpy one. So here we're going to play this real quick.
I think we hear the president. Let's tune in.
With the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job there.
Volume's very quiet, guys. I apologize for that.
They didn't exist, or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons why we wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. Wanted to figure out why.
Space.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot.
Shaking his
so
head.
the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
He's pulling the proof out of his pocket there to show them that they're that much on the budget.
3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2. This came from us.
Yes. I don't know who does that.
This looks like a skit, man. Like, you know, and it might be.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does the issue give you any? As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire them.
Do you think this issue, Mr. President, gives you cause to do that?
Well, I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around.
So a lot of people can't hear it because for some reason the volume is really ultimately pretty low on this video, but he's sitting there basically calling them out on the budget they're spending for these buildings that have taken a super crazy long time for them to finish. I mean, he was talking years and years for them to finish these buildings. He said he wishes it probably was never spent, you know, right to this guy's face. And this guy's like, you know, just, you know, he's like bummed, like he looks like a kid.
It's about like the road project up in Troy.
Exactly.
It'll go on forever. Yeah, Mr. Powell probably has the helmet on in case Mr. Trump would try to hit him on the head for all the things he said about him.
Yeah, man. He looked like a kid that got his hand caught in the cookie jar, and he's like, now he's got to go out and tell everybody that he's been stealing cookies from the gas station. You know what I mean? Like, it was interesting the way he looked there, and I could be wrong. Maybe he looks like that all the time, but ultimately it could have all been an act. But it's interesting to see those kind of things, knowing that the whole financial systems actually is getting ready to change. This isn't just, you know, conspiracy theory. You got to look at what was passed. It's really amazing. And I think that I don't know a lot about finances. I'm not a finance person or anything like that, but I do know that we are making a big shift, and I don't necessarily love the shift, but I don't also love the things that we have going on right now with the Federal Reserve and with all of the financial control to where they can just print as much money as they want. They can inflate it. They can just throw it around. We've seen billions of dollars being thrown around and expose that. They've seen all of that stuff go on. And it's just like, it's almost like the whole thing, all of these things, if you really look at every single thing that we talked about tonight, all of them lead us towards, we want a new financial system, because all of these people were ultimately involved somehow within the financial governance and within financial markets and within, using billions of dollars from our federal government. So like ultimately all of this looks like a predictive pattern towards, boom, new world currency or new currency. This is the new thing. And it really does look that way to me, David. I think that all of these things point towards something like that.
Well, the one thing about the Federal Reserve, it's a double oxymoron. It's neither federal nor it has no reserve. And it is truly the creature from Jekyll Island. And it has been the foundation of the globalist agenda for the New World Order ever since that it was initiated. And it is the money it makes. It just prints money for nothing and the interest for free, with apologies to Dire Straits. But the money they make off the interest of our national debt is phenomenal, and this is going into the hands of the international bankers, the Rothschild Morgan cartel of the international bankers. It is just amazing. And the one thing that John Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln had in common is they both wanted to go back to have the Congress printing the money, which it's right there in the Constitution that the Congress can print money. And Lincoln did his greenback dollars. And Mr. Kennedy also wanted to do the very same thing, to go back to Congress printing the money. And they have another thing in common. They were both assassinated. Now, this isn't my bailiwick either of deep insight into international financial affairs, but what it does appear to me that this could do would be to create another venue of money and huge amounts of money that the Federal Reserve would not be able to control. Now,
It's already happened.
And that I could see. And this is another thing. Trump's hard to figure. He really is hard to figure. And this would be absolutely against that New World Order plan that is so much contingent on the Federal Reserve. So here again, you can't figure this guy out. He's really a mystery wrapped into enigma. And this is going against the very core of the globalist agenda. So, boy,
maybe
we're
we have
just really going to
agenda.
have to watch. Yeah. And, maybe they've got a way to control it down the road. I don't know. But this appears to me to something that the globalists are going to hate unless they've got something up their sleeve, some way to control this.
And unfortunately for them, it looks like they're not the globalists that are going to control this plan. But this plan will be a globalist plan nonetheless, because how can it not be? How can it not be? It has to be. When you have AI controlling, and then you've got literal nanny state to where you can see everybody at all times, anywhere, your mass surveillance, that means that even people like these horrible people that are using people, taking everybody's money, everything's public, and they don't want that at all. They don't want all of their deeds to be exposed to the public. So in a way, all of this stuff brings about exposure for them. But dude, like, I think that there's going to be a major mass wealth transfer, and then, a lot of things are coming after that. But I think at some point here very soon, and I don't know when, I just feel like something's going to happen, but there's going to be this mass wealth transfer, and the places like, some of the banks in the world are not going to know what to do, and it's going to completely change the way everything works, because I'm pretty sure like some of these companies, these crypto companies, are going to be getting bank status, because in order to have their CBDCs, all they have to do is back it with the US dollar, which creates a need for the US dollar at this point. So there's going to be a portion of time to where I think this mass wealth gets redistributed somehow, and then there's going to come a time where they cut off the cash altogether, and then you know where that leads to. Eventually we know where that leads. But I'm hoping that there's a gap there, but I just know that that's what it's looking like to me. Like I said, David, I'm not a financial advisor. Everything we even said tonight, you guys should take with as we're entertainment. It's for entertainment purposes only. Alleged. That's all we got to say. But David, I mean, what do you think about that? The money thing is just it's so crazy. I mean, you've seen what gold's done in just the past year or two. It's crazy.
Yeah. And could we be seeing the financial structure of the right head of the eagle? And this could be something that is a tremendously clever plan to absolutely take billions of dollars from that international banking cartel, and that, these people, they're just absolute global Luciferians, is my opinion. And they have not the good of the United States in their heart, nor the good of anything but themselves. It's about the elite controlling the few. But will the other side be any better when they accomplish it? This is the thing. So it's just something we really need to watch and pray. We need to be aware of these things and kick them around. And there's so much, it's happening just really on a daily basis.
It really is, man. And I appreciate you coming on to talk with me about this tonight. I know that it's important it's important to have well-rounded ideas about this, because we really don't know what is 100% going to happen, but it's very important to be skeptical, to look at things in a broad perspective and see, okay, I don't want to be deceived. And really, it's probably better not even to watch some of these things on a daily basis, because it can cause stress. But there are things that I feel like we do need to know, such as the financial system, how this is going to change our reality. And I think that everybody should research that a little bit, and maybe we can talk about that more on another broadcast. But I think that's very important. I think it's important too to remember all the people, David, that were pointing to Obama being the Antichrist. I mean, there were people that bet the farm on it, and so we've got to even investigate that a little bit more now to see.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So anyways, David, I appreciate it, man. Tell people what you guys got going on in your channel this week.
Well, tomorrow night, I'm entitling the message tomorrow night, Vultures Over the Sacrifice. And in this, I'll be getting into the scriptures, what the scripture says about King Cyrus. And, there's these prophetic parallels. You can see in Ahab and Jezebel a whole bunch of Bill and Hillary Clinton. It's uncanny, the similarities. And the same thing with these prophetic parallels with Mr. Trump and King Cyrus. And we're going to be looking at what the Bible says. And, we're all in watch and pray mode. I pray for President Trump because the Bible says for us to pray for our leaders, and I sincerely do. And it's going to be interesting, and hopefully that'll give us some more insight in perhaps what's going on. And a lot of the things we learn and study, it's to be able, like now we can see it's coming to a prophetic fork in the road. And we could see one scenario. It could go this way. It could go that way. We don't know. But we have to weigh the options and look at it scripturally to get an understanding of where this thing could go. And also something in the near future that I'll probably be doing midnight ride style is the prophetic similarities between Barack Obama and the King of the North. And that is really very profound.
I'm looking forward to hearing that, man. I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
And a lot of people, a lot of you folks that were saying Barack Obama was the Antichrist, maybe you shouldn't give up yet, And so many people, they thought that, and basically I think it's true that Mr. Obama was president through Mr. Biden. Poor Mr. Biden, he nobody believes he was running anything. And I think Mr. Obama was pulling the strings there. So, it's very, very perilous times, but God is on the throne, and Jesus is reigning in the Israel of God. And it is all well with the Israel of God. And thank you, John, for having me on. I really enjoy coming on and talking about these things. And thank all of you for coming in to listening to a little midweek mania here on Now You See TV.
That's right, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. You can also go check out David's channel. The link is in the description there. Go check it out. And man, I hope you guys like it because we enjoyed talking about it. So we'll see you guys next time. And actually,